Hey everyone, it's Jenna Melanson from Canadian Beats Media. I'm joined today by Kitchener, Ontario-based country singer-songwriter Jessie T for our latest segment of Zoomies. Welcome, Jessie.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. So, first off, care to introduce yourself a bit more in depth for our listeners?
Yeah, so I am a singer-songwriter recording artist, and I'm sure as you've talked to many country artists, we wear many different hats. But those are the top three. From Kingston, Ontario, originally moved to Kitchener in 2012 to be closer to the music. And yeah, I love songwriting and I love singing and performing.
Okay. So, tell us a bit about your most recent release.
So my most recent release was called Just a Number. And during the past years that we don't talk about, I always say the big space. Um, but I really got down to the heart of songs that I needed to hear and songs that I needed to write. And this was definitely a front runner in that group of music. So this is how so often I've let the world label me by numbers, be it my age, my waist size, how many kids
Mhm.
we do or don't have. And I find just being a female in the world, that happens a lot. So I sat down with Nicole Ray and Elise Saunders, and we wrote this song called Just a Number.
Awesome. You're set to play the Neon Denim Country Showcase on July 15th at the Rivoli in Toronto. This is presented by Dave Woods. So, what can someone who hasn't seen you perform live expect from your performance?
Ooh, a lot of bad dad jokes is the first thing that I'd say. No, I, during those showcases, I try and choose kind of a diverse catalog. So kind of give people like a tune off my first album. We're going to be doing one called Hellbound. That seems to be a crowd favorite. And then a few new songs off a debut or a second album that I have coming out very soon.
Okay.
So, and then one of my favorite covers, which you're just gonna have to show up to hear what it is. So.
Okay. So you'll be joined by five other extremely talented Ontario-based country artists. But what I want to know is who you would add to the showcase if you could.
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mackenzie Lee Meyer or Robin Ottolini, two
Mhm.
Ontario country girls. That would be pretty sweet. There's a lot of female power in the Neon Denim Showcase so far, so
Yeah,
I'm always down to add more.
for sure. So as we know, Dave Woods is no stranger to putting on showcases, typically songwriters, series type showcases. What is your favorite part of being involved in Dave's showcases?
Oh man. So I've had the fortune of playing a lot of Dave's showcases over the last quite a few years. Um, and I can consistently say I love that he encourages new artists and original
Mhm.
music, but also the questions that he asks are really pointed and they help as an artist. I feel the audience get to know us in a different
Yeah.
way. A lot of the time, if you're listening to the radio or listening to streaming platforms, you get to hear the stories that obviously artists care about, but not necessarily the backstories that get to go with it.
Hmm.
And I just love the way and the questions that Dave asks in order to pull
Yeah.
out those kind of really intimate details.
Great. So, what else do you have in store for 2023?
Ooh, lots of good stuff. So as I kind of leaked a little bit earlier, I have a second album. So we're just finishing up on kind of the last little tidbits of that.
Okay.
We already have the album artwork done, all the songs picked out. So I'm really, really excited for that to come out. I'm opening up for James Barker Band August 4th in Beaverton at the Beaverton Lions Hall. So you can find the details for that on my website. I'm also headlining Harrow Fair, which is in Harrow, Ontario. So both of those will be full band shows. So yeah, I'm really excited for like just an upbeat summer that I get to play with my band and a lot of like songwriter events too. So some cool
Okay.
shows.
So, the next five questions are just for fun.
Okay.
Who was the first Canadian band or artist to catch your attention growing up?
Carolyn Dawn Johnson. Um,
Awesome.
so Oh, these are just for fun, or can I tell a little
You
story?
can tell a little story. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So one of my best friends moved in two houses down when I was in grade six, and her dad used to play in country bands at Legion's. And I went out to the Legion the one time, and we grew up on a lot of like 50s, 60s rock and roll music. But of course, at Legion's, lots of country music happens. And a lady
Mhm.
named Kelly Trottier was playing Die of a Broken Heart by Carolyn Dawn Johnson. And the first time I heard that song, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to
Wow.
write songs and perform like that. And that was really the moment that changed it for me.
Awesome. I actually spoke with Carolyn last week for
Oh,
her Stan Fest. Um, yeah, I just posted it today. It's a really nice interview. It didn't turn into a Zoomies. It kind of went way longer, but
yeah.
it was really nice. Yeah.
I will definitely be checking that out.
So at the showcase, there will be original and cover songs performed. So
Yes.
what are your three favorite cover songs to perform?
Ooh, good question. See, this is always a little bit tricky because it depends on the audience and it depends on the venue.
Hmm.
But when it's a band, top three would be Red Wagon. Audra May and the Almighty Sound was the first version I heard of it, and then Miranda Lambert released another version.
Okay.
Here for the Party, Gretchen Wilson, and my band always hates me for this, but Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I
Okay.
absolutely love that song. It's my hype song.
Uh, Those are good songs.
Thank
I think
you.
you do great at all of them.
Appreciate that.
So what was the first country song you sang in public?
It would be Crazy by Patsy Cline. That was one, either that or Suds in the Bucket. One of those two. Those were my like competition songs for a long
Okay.
time. Suds in the Bucket was like my karaoke track, and Patsy Cline Crazy was like when I first started learning guitar. Um,
Okay.
those would be my first two.
Great. What's your favorite thing about being a musician in Ontario?
Honestly, the amount of talent that Ontario has and like just the collaborative energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I absolutely love about being an artist and especially in Ontario, but I just feel like Ontario has so many talented people that it really helps put this area on the map. And I'm a firm believer in all ships rise. So it's cool to be able to see so many people kind of popping off in this area and the
Yeah.
success that continues to bring back to Ontario and
Hmm.
in happening.
For sure. So that kind of leads us into if you could work with any fellow Canadian country artist who you haven't already, who would you choose?
That's so hard. Um, I would probably say, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Robin Ottolini, like her stuff.
Mhm.
She's just killer. I just appreciate how honest she is in her writing. Andrew Hyatt would also be like a top on the list, or Jessica Mitchell.
Okay.
Those, their voices and just what they have to say, I feel like is just so poignant and honest.
Hmm.
And I'm a huge fan of that.
Okay. So that's it for Zoomies. Thanks for joining me and have a great time at the Neon and Denim Showcase.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.